Good morning and welcome to another edition of Vigilante on Fresh 107.9 FM Abeokuta. My name is Samson Akindele, your regular host on this show. Week in, week out, we try to talk about safety and security. Well, we're in a special season, the season of love, season of giving, season of holidays, and it's also a season of work and a lot of activities for some people. So why going about our normal activities? Why trying to have or enjoy the celebration, coming, or the celebration that is already here? How safe and secured, can we be at this time? Do you have any special arrangement, for a special party, Christmas party, New Year party? Are you thinking, safety? Are you putting safety and security into your plans? These are some of the things that should preoccupy our mind at this time. A lot of things going on right now in the country. Insecurity everywhere. People getting kidnapped. People getting robbed. Hoodlums disrupting the peace in the society. So, are you also concerned? Are you thinking, oh, it's government that has failed? Yes, the government might have failed you, but are you sure you're also not failing yourself? Because safety should be a personal thing. Yes, the government should make the police work for us, the military, the NSCDC, the immigration, customs, and other security agencies. But if they put all this in place and the fact that FRSC is there, that will not stop you from overspeeding. And if you get away with that kind of negative attitude, you might not have your life, or you might lose something in the course of God traveling from one point to another. So these are the concerns on this show, every week. But we are talking about the issues that are germane at this time. Well, a lot of people are already saying it's Christmas. Today is the 15th of December. Christmas is coming in 10 days. 25th, and a lot of people are already rushing to do a lot of things that they couldn't achieve in this special year 2020. In fact, some people cannot wait for 2020 to go away, but it's not going to go away like that. It still have to go by the way of TikTok. The clock will still have to count down, so you have to be patient. Anything you have not achieved this year, please, if the time is already against you, just allow God to do it for you by just praying that you see next year, 2021, and you can still achieve a lot. And in just a few days for the year to even end, a lot can still be achieved by some people if you really plan. So on this show, I always encourage us, to think safety first in all we do. How safe do you think you are? Think about it. We shall be talking about traveling today. For those who will be on holiday or they are already on holiday, schools will be closing, I think, from this Friday. And of course, the resumption time, January, will be announced. They already lost a lot of ground, and there won't be much time, for students to stay at home with us. But something is still around the corner that we still have to worry about. Yes, this year, remember, we couldn't celebrate Easter the way we used to do. It will be the first time in my entire life that Easter will be celebrated, from home, not from the churches. The Muslim had the Salah. They couldn't celebrate it, by going for the normal service, open air service they had. It's been a special year. Now, Christmas is here, and a lot of people felt that, oh, yes, there is freedom. New Year celebration, everything can happen now. Please remember, the pandemic that has made this year 2020 a special one is still there around the corner. And the figures are going up again. Some people are calling this the second wave of the virus, coronavirus, COVID-19. But I've always been, of this belief that, look, it's not that the figures had gone down. It's just that we've not been testing enough people. And now that the state governments are waking up to this again, some of them that have closed the isolation centers are reopening the isolation centers. It means that we have to be very careful. So how are we going to celebrate Christmas amid COVID-19? These are some of the concerns we'll have to look at. And quickly, like I used to do then, where during the lockdown and immediately after the ease of lockdown, we used to give you updates from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, concerning the latest cases of COVID-19. They've been giving us figures, but like I've always been telling people, these are not just figures. These are human beings that we're talking about. Right now, as at 11:30 p.m. yesterday, we recorded nationwide new cases of COVID-19 that have been confirmed, 201. It means 201 persons, Nigerians, or just residents, or maybe they are foreigners, also included. 201 persons, have tested positive. That's those who have been tested positive, to that, to the pandemic. Now, you have total now in Nigeria, confirmed total, 3,374, out of which 66,314 have been discharged. And we've recorded, unfortunately, 1,197 deaths. It means, in terms of human beings, we've lost 1,197 people. Some of these people you don't know. I don't know. But some of them we know. So we know that COVID-19 is real. Like I've always been saying on this program, well, if they are discussing whether COVID-19 is real or not, anywhere you are, please just walk away from there. Just know that it is real. It depends on how you also try to take care, of your own personal safety, even if you think government is not doing enough. And what are those things you need to do? Just observe the normal safety protocols, that have been given to us by the experts. The Ogun State Ministry of Health have been saying it. The Federal Ministry of Health have been saying it. The World Health Organization have been saying it. Wearing a face mask is not the only thing, but is one of the ways, to protect yourself, your family members, and the society, indeed, the world. After wearing your face mask, they told us you should wash your hands regularly with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. So if you are still there and you think washing of hands regularly at reasonable intervals, especially when you have, touched, some surfaces, maybe you've mistakenly shaken hand with some people, whether they are your friends or not, it does not matter, because you don't know who is carrying the virus. It's an unseen enemy. So what do? Wash your hands regularly. We now have, pocket size, sanitizers too, that we can carry around. What is wrong in having it in your handbag? If you are a lady, in your pocket, you can even hold it with your phone. Some of them are so small, that you can begin to just apply it, at intervals as you move about. Maybe you're just coming down, from a taxi or a commercial bus. You can just use your hand sanitizer, and when you get to where you can use water and soap, maybe at your office or at home, please wash your hands thoroughly. Indeed, you can just take a full bath if it's at home. So these are some of the things we've been asked to do. Of course, not forgetting social distancing. Now, these have been pretty difficult. It's difficult because the churches are fully opened, the mosques are fully opened. We cannot afford another, kind of lockdown in Nigeria, because the economy is in recession. Even before the recession came, a lot of people are already depressed. A lot of businesses are depressed. And of course, what we can do is to live with this virus by making sure that we don't calm down, with it. We don't fall sick. And what you can do is to be proactive, not until it gets into you, then you now begin to panic. It's not the time for anyone to panic. It's not everybody that has COVID that will die, but you don't know the underlying ailment you have. If you know you have something you're already treating in your body, no matter how little that illness is, please, please protect yourself against COVID-19. So when you attend the church, when you are in that mosque, or when you are attending that party, social distancing is key. I know at parties these days, a lot of people really do not care anymore. But some people are coming down with it, some of them that we know. And some people will still say, nah lie, nah lie. Well, I hope we won't take your case as an example. It's going to be a very bad example if you live dangerously and this happens to you. So we have to go quickly this morning, because I'm still going to interact with you listening this morning, because what we want to discuss is still about horse. So if you have to travel this festive period, you have to remember that you are on Nigerian road. What is the difference if you are driving in America or the UK, or you drive here? It just means that our roads are not as good as the roads there. And of course, the attitude of those who drive, or those who use the roads in Nigeria, has always been different. So how can we make sure that this does not affect us? A lot of things are unpredictable when you travel on our roads. So you have to take note of some of these things. I'm going to reel out some of these tips will really help us. Number one that I want us to know is that you have to make sure you travel during the day and not at night for perfect views and clarity. A lot of people will leave maybe because you are running away from traffic, and you just feel that, look, let me leave for Lagos around 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. The road will be freer. Please, not at this period. You don't have to do that at this period, because even the vehicle you are going with, you don't know what you have never envisaged that might happen to that vehicle. Number two, never overspeed. Remember the speed limit. For cars, you can travel at 100 kilometers per hour, and of course for bigger vehicles, you have to travel at 90, at 80. And of course, this is very important: if you drink, don't drive. And if you must drive, you don't have to drink. If you must drink anything, please take water. You also have to check your vehicle tires, the hydraulics, of course the wipers. Yes, wipers. You want to say, oh, is it raining at this time? Well, it rained heavily in some parts of the country yesterday. That of Ibadan I know of, because we got calls that it rained heavily yesterday evening. So you can do that. And sometimes it might get foggy, out there while you are driving. The wipers still have to be very good. The blades must still be very sharp, not warped, to do the work. Of course, you have to check your lamps. Check your lamps, your headlamp, the indicators, the brake light. Sometimes some of these bulbs will have gone bad and you won't know, because when you just put your foot on the brake pedal, you can see the red light at the back, but sometimes it might just be one. So you can do all these tests when you walk around the vehicle, starting the engine. You can check all the light with what we call the double pointer or the hazard light. You will know whether the 4 indicators are working on the car, or all the indicators are working. Of course, the brake systems, you have to make sure that they are working perfectly, very sharp when you need to stop. Of course, the lubricants, when you say lubricants here, everything liquid in your vehicle, water, oil, whether it's the transmission oil, the engine oil, the brake oil, all these things you really have to check and make sure that they are well gauged. Of course, fire extinguisher, very key. I saw a vehicle burning yesterday. A lot of people couldn't help. That's around Rita Mefa in Ibadan, and it happened that nobody could really say what actually happened, but the whole car got burnt. What anything could have happened. Maybe if a fire extinguisher had been there, maybe it could have helped. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to blame anybody here, but many times fire extinguishers have been of great help to a lot of people. Of course, what we call sea caution, that triangular thing that road safety people always ask. They want to find out if you have it in case your car breaks down the road. This sign will tell people that, look, don't go too close to this person. Is already in the car is already in distress, or that particular person. So they need to avoid where you are. And you should have at least 2 in your car, not just one in the front, one at the back. Of course, you have to check all these things before embarking on the journey, not when you are ready on the journey. Of course, your extra tire, a lot of us don't check that, because you checked it last week. It was there was still air in it. Do you know what will have happened between last week and now? So please, these are the precautions we really need to take as we travel this season. One attitude that a lot of drivers, motorists, also take with pleasure is that they put petrol, in the car, especially for those going for long distances. Now, we don't have any instance of fuel scarcity, but we know that some people still do this, or some might just put it in the car, maybe just to fuel the power generator. All that, yes, it happens. And just buy that at the nearest where you are. Other inflammables, should also be avoided. There are special vehicles that could these things. Again, gas cylinders that we travel with. Sometimes we really have to be careful how we transport this this season, because a lot of people will use cooking gas at this time. See caution sign, in the front of your car, and of course at the back. The use of seatbelt, because we know it's compulsory, but a lot of people still don't use it. We have to use it at all times. You don't have to buy it. So I wonder why we don't want to wear this seatbelt. If it's going to make your clothes dirty, then it's your fault. Maybe you don't wash it regularly. So what do you need to do? You might find a cover for it, or maybe your handkerchief or hand towel that you can just use, just to make sure that it doesn't stain your white or light colored clothes. You still have to wear it, even for the children, and I have not seen a car, manufactured without a seat belt. It's just that, especially those one at the back, some of us will have cut them off. Maybe the car had broken down at some point and you need to tow it. No tow rope in your vehicle, and you have to cut it off without replacing it. That's what usually happens. Children should sit. They should not sit in the front seat if traveling in public vehicles, even in private too, because you really have to. Children are amazing. They love to play with a lot of things that they could interfere. What the driver is doing, and again, the seat belt, in the front is not made for children, especially because of their height. So you have to make sure that you strap them safely in the back seat and not in the front. If you love these children, don't show love by putting them on your laps while you are driving, or by making them sit in between the two, chairs in the front. It's very risky, because while you are having your seatbelt on, in case you apply the brakes immediately or suddenly, these children could go out of that car through the windshield. And of course, your guess is as good as mine. We don't want to lose anyone at this time. So also your mirror, please, you have to check that your mirrors are very, very clear. And of course, the last one I'm going to tell you that you make sure that you have work tools. I'm going to talk more about the work tools that you should have. Some do-it-yourself, tools that you can have in your car, and that could be of great help. I'll go for this very short break. When I return, we'll be talking about the work tools that you should have in your car. Stay with us.
Ọkọ mi, ṣé bọ́ọ̀sì yìí ti kún ṣá? Ṣé ìyá awakọ̀ ló jókòó sí? Ó yá pé nọ́mbà ọkọ̀ yẹn fún mi.
Màámi, ẹ má ṣe yọnu.
Dá mi lóhùn o jàre. Ó dá tí ẹ ṣe fídíò kọ̀ pàápàá kí n ráwakọ̀ yín ọ̀hún.
Kò lè tó yẹn màámi. Ṣùgbọ́n o màámi, ẹ̀yin náà má ti mọ bó ṣe lọ gan ni kẹ̀. Fídíò call kẹ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kẹ́, àtìgbà tí mo ti bọ́ sórí òpó ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ Airtel ni mo ti ń gba dátà lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ nígbàkúgbà tí ń bá rówó ìpè tí pè mí nílẹ̀ yìí àti sókè òkú sì ti di kọ́bọ̀ mọ́kànlá péré fún ìṣẹ́jú àáyá kan.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o, máa bọ̀ lórí òpó ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ Airtel lónìí kí wọn náà bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí gbádùn gbogbo ìpè rẹ ní kọ́bọ̀ mọ́kànlá fún ìṣẹ́jú àáyá kan pẹ̀lú dátà ọ̀fẹ́ ní gbogbo ìgbà tó bá ra owó ìpè. Wàá sì tún gbádùn ìlọ́po méjì dátà fún oṣù mẹ́ta lórí àtẹ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ tó ní agbára 4G tó gbòòrò jùlọ. Ó ní ìlànà àti òfin o.
Wọ́n sọ fún awakọ̀ yẹn kó ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ jàre.
Màámi,
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Still Vigilante on Fresh 107.9 FM at Abeokuta, and we've been talking about how we can have safe travels at this time, this season of Christmas, and of course, whether you are driving yourself or you are being driven, these tips will be of great help. Before that short break, I was talking about the tools that we should have in our cars. Yes, you are not a mechanic, you are not an auto electrician. But who knows, if you understand your car very well. Some people want to crank their engine, start the engine, and it will not start. And it might just be maybe you have a loose terminal on your battery. Having a spanner, maybe flat spanner or any other one, can just, or even a plier, could just help you to retighten the terminal on the battery, and the car will crank or will start. So a lot of people, this has happened to them. Very simple, procedure that you should do yourself, but you can't do it. But you won't be able to do everything anyway. But what you can do is this, or what these tools can do for you, is just that sometimes you might have someone who wants to help you. Maybe a mechanic is just passing by or driving by, and they need to help you with some tools, like just a set of screwdriver that they can have. Maybe it's star or the flat one. Maybe it's a plier they will need, and some other equipment like that. Some cars do come with it, but a lot of people don't have the money to buy new cars these days, so you don't find some of these tools. But whether you buy a Tokunbo car or you are buying from someone who have used it in Nigeria here, yes, you can get many of these tools where they sell, car accessories, and just keep them in your vehicle. The other important things you have to have, I mentioned the spare tire the other time. What do you change the tire with? If you want to put the spare, you need the jack, you need the wheel spanner to do that. Many people travel without these things, and when they are stranded, they are waving other car owners down on the road, so that they can use their own, jack. I've seen that many times, and it could really, really, be embarrassing. Then don't overtake at the bend. This time when you are driving, a lot of people just overtake anyhow. If you are taught in driving school, you should not even overtake from the right. A lot of people do that. But when you are at a bend, you don't know the vehicle that is coming, right opposite you. So what are you going to do? You have to be patient until you can see the road clearly. On a straight road, that is when you can do safe overtaking. Or while you are ascending or descending, you also should not overtake. Obey all traffic rules and regulations. The rules and regulations are there not to punish anybody, but to keep everybody safe. You have to slow down at the bends, and of course on rough roads, because if you ride on rough roads, the way you ride on a smooth road. Of course, your hydraulic system or the shock absorber, if anything breaks there, maybe it's the spring that breaks. That might be the end of that journey or a delay in that journey. Of course, where you see traffic officers, please be polite when stopped for questioning, or just even when they are waving you down. You don't know where a vehicle is coming from, that they are waving you down. You don't have to be arrogant while on wheels. You don't have to be rude. Don't be abusive. Don't prove that you know too much, because they also know something that you don't know. Nobody knows everything, and of course, when you are around these law enforcement agents, they are there to also provide some safety. So if you don't like the way they work, sometimes there are other ways, to do that. Just saying, officer, well done, or good afternoon, will make some of them, also smile at you. And of course, you have a jolly good ride to anywhere you are going. I hope you've gained one or two things from these tips, because we really have to keep reminding ourselves of some of these things. This is the season where a lot of people get careless, and we give the ember months the name that we give them. Oh, they are bad months, especially when it's December. Some people will say that, my pastor has said that I should not travel because a lot of things will happen on the road. Yes, the pastor might have seen it, because some negative attitude will come at this time that could endanger your life. So you have to listen to your pastor, but you also have to make sure that you exercise patience when you do this. All the tips that have been given to you, didn't come from me. I don't regard myself as an expert on this show. They all came from Dr. Akindele, that fantastic health and safety expert who usually visits us from Ibadan. Thank you very much, for taking that. And of course, we'll begin to interact very soon, after, looking at some other issues that can happen around this issue. The issue of fire incidents. Have you had any this season around you, or you read in the newspapers? Stay with us. Five. normal speed. That when people, if I'm driving on a bad, I apply my speed condition of the road. So, another call. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good delivery this morning.
Thank you,
and
sir.
those things, very lovely things, you know. Despite the fact that you are not fine, okay.
We lost him there. Let's listen to someone else.
Hello,
Hello,
good morning.
hello, good morning.
Good morning, Samson. You are doing wonderfully well. I mean, I'm really enjoying your program. You see, we all just
Thank you,
need to
sir.
take caution. Take caution to make sure that, I mean, we take all necessary things in our car. We don't travel very early in the morning because, you know, there could be fog and things like that. But the roads are very bad. I think Nigeria government still needs to really make sure that the roads are very good. Entering a pothole with a very high speed can lead to a very catastrophic situation. So we all need to be very careful and make sure that we don't even overspeed. Let me allow other people to say something. God bless you. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you
That's what I
very
mean.
much,
Honorable
Vigilante. Thank you so much, sir. Hello, good morning. Well, I thought we have someone there. Well, I'm going to touch on something very, important, like I said earlier, but we won't be able to talk about it fully, today because we are in that season where the environment is so dry. You hardly find anywhere that is wet at this time. Even the leaves are turning yellow. They are dropping from the trees and all that. And you have, because the atmosphere is so dry, there is this reason for fire to come around at this time, whether at home or even when you are driving on the road and all that. So there are ways to prevent fire incidents like we normally talk about. I did this series, last year in December at this time, where we talked for about 3 weeks. Then we had fire just happening. In fact, we talked into January of this year, and it's beginning to happen again. So what are the things that we are supposed to do at this time, especially as we are going into that season of cooking? A lot of cooking will happen. Barbecue, where should you put when you want to grill your fish? Where do you put that grill? Is it so close to the house? How many meters away, from where you live? Or do you put them on grass or on concrete floor? These are some of the things we really, really need to know. When you are parking your car, you are going on the road, where should the exhaust pipe, face? Is it where you have dry grass? These are also some of the things that a lot of us really, really don't care about, because we don't know about them. And sometimes when we know about them, we just say that God forbid it will not happen, to me. How do you disable smoke? If you have smoke coming from anywhere in your building, in your office, the air conditioners are working almost non-stop at this period. How do you take care of your air conditioners? Do you put them where, if there's a spark, for instance, in the house or in the office, there's a combustible material around that will just, allow the whole thing to become a big fire, there. So you really, really have to, be careful at this season, whether you are at home or you are in your office, or you are driving the articulated vehicle, especially the tankers. How do you avoid them on the road? The drivers, what should they do? We'll be talking about this next week by the grace of God. And of course, I hope my expert will be here at that time. Somebody who should know about some of these things, so that as we go into this season of joy, it will not become season of sadness. That is key, because if you remember what one of the callers, I think our man who called from Songo, I think Abaton, I hope I got that name right, talked about, displaying positive attitude toward security officials at this time. Not just at this time. I've said it on this show. We have no other police. We have no other military. Some bad eggs amongst them, but we are not saying all of them are bad. And we to help the society. They should listen to you, but to maybe display some nice things to you when they are not supposed to. But overall, we have to make sure that will be corrected.
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Let there be peace all over the land. Let there be peace. Let there be